Shirt show. All right, let's go.
Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Shirt, man! All right! Episode 241 of Shirt Show! We're talking with Angie from High Desert in Idaho! Let's go!
There he is.
Hey there, handsome.
Hey, handsome.
Hey.
You look warm.
I am. I'm nice and toasty now.
Toasty, that's the good word. Yeah, I like that word.
Feet are frozen, but the rest of me is toasty.
I was just telling the story to Jimmy, M&R Jimmy. Oh, sorry, Rock
Jimmy.
In my phone, it's, what is it? M Rock. It's like M ampersand ROQ. So that was the easiest way to edit it. But he was here. And I was just telling the story once we had a press delivered on the coldest day in St. Louis's history of time, like in the past 26,000 years. Mm-hmm. And we, the last crate, there was like 3 crates, and the last crate on the truck, we couldn't dock. We couldn't, what's it called? Forklift dock into the truck. We had to drive it in our drive-in overhead
right. Loading dock
thing. Yeah, I don't remember why. There was just a whole, I think it was like the trailer was too big and this and that. Anyway. And so the final crate was like deep on the 54-foot, whatever, way in there. And so we pallet jacked, and then we couldn't it was so heavy. It's like 4,000 pounds or whatever. We're having trouble pulling it. So like 6 or 7 of us, a bunch of people climbed over to the other side of the crate to push and try and hand another pallet jack over that way. And then, so we double pallet jacked trying to push, and like think that some people, and I remember Kyle saying he might have frostbite on his toes. Like he might have to cut them off. It's so freaking cold.
We, the day that we got our Sprint 3000 and our Gauntlet delivered, it was like a snowstorm, like a fucking blizzard. But we've done that before 2 different times where the stuff's just too heavy to go in our loading dock because the loading dock area is like wood floor. So we have to get it, pallet jacked up and into the building. But what we do is if we have the crate way in the back that we can't get to, we have these like yellow heavy duty like tow straps that we hook to the forklift and then tow strap it to the pallet all the way in the back. And then the forklift just backs up and it pulls the crate all the way to the front. And then
talking about nylon like straps?
Yeah, but the heavy duty ones, they're like, I don't know, like 4 inches wide. They're meant for that kind of shit.
Just so slide it?
Just pulls it all the way to the front, and then we get it with the forklift, pick it up, and bring it in.
Okay, so I did something similar as long as we're telling these stories.
You just use human beings.
our Eco-Rinse ships, put like assembled. And so the crate is, I can't tell you, it's like, 1,000 feet long. I don't know how long it is, but it's thin. Like the Eco-Rinse isn't that thick, but it's really, really long. There's a joke there. Go on, go say it.
Nope.
Say it.
I got it.
And that one, I did drive the forklift. The truck was at our dock, and so I drove the forklift onto the truck, and our dock plate was rated, whatever, 10,000 pounds or something, but I wasn't sure. I was like, I could drive, and then this is going to break and I'm going to die. Anyway, I couldn't, it was so long, and I had forklift extenders and everything. It would pick it up, but couldn't pick it up enough to actually drag it backwards. Right?
I've been there.
And so we had a chain, and this giant thick chain all the way around the crate, and I dragged it off the truck and then all the way across our shop. And then to get it off the crate was like, it's because it's a zillion pounds. It took 7.5 hours to get that machine in our shop and then whatever, put in the right spot. Yeah. Like in the, you know what I'm saying? Like it was a lot. Because
we had that with the Blue Water too. I think it was like 14 feet long.
Yeah. It's like the things we do, people don't realize, because they create that stuff to ship to like Mars. It's if you've never been
to be fair to a lot of these places, the equipment I feel like is is packaged to be delivered to a warehouse, like on the ground level fucking warehouse where they have forklifts, they have all this equipment. The problem is most of these mid-level shops or less are in random ass buildings and upstairs and like all this other stuff. And
like
it's
maybe
impossible.
a double door. If you're lucky, you have a double door, 236-inch. So you have this 6 foot opening basically, and you're trying to fit this industrial machinery in. And so the overhead door is the good move. You know, if you have a chance in the back, like I know of shops that have that had a double door, but then it's like cinder block, you know, and they just knock out a hole. And
that's what we did here. We put in a 10 by 10 roll up door just for equipment. Yeah. Like just to get in equipment and out. That's all. That's its only function.
I mean, it makes sense. And you know, when you go to M&R or any equipment manufacturer, I'm sure there's like a full-time construction crew. You know, you go on that tour and there's like, I don't know, 10 guys or something. And it's a department and they have wood. It looks like you're at, you know, Lowe's.
Home Depot.
Home Depot. Menards. Let's just say those are better. Because there's like all, you know, it's like full construction to build all this shit so that they can ship it anywhere and then it remains safe. And that's really cool.
I pitched to M&R a while ago that they need to make a video or a manual on how to decrate and like depallet your equipment if you don't have a forklift. Because we in our building can't have a forklift inside. So like when we take, you know, say like the Unico or the G3 or something off the pallet that it's on, we have to like get like car jacks and fucking saws all the pallet out and then drop it slowly. And like, it's this whole thing. It's like,
it's a whole thing.
But if they had a step-by-step, like this is how you take it off without a forklift, I feel like that would be so helpful to people trying to do that.
I noticed that only like years into it, after I've already uncrated a bunch of things, that they circle certain screws because then that whole piece will come off together, and you don't have to like kill yourself over, you know. Anyway, it's uncrating is fun, and I've gone through
hell of a story to come into today.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you know, you get excited, it's like, you know, you get this piece of equipment, you can't wait, and then you want to start just tearing into this crate and all, but it's you know, you get your Sawzall just like you said, or you get screw guns, and you get like what are those? What's that called? That tool?
Pry bar.
Yeah, and you just go to town. Gloves.
The whole funny thing about that, I think I talked about it when we had Kevin on, but I got the laser here, and it was the best crating job I've ever witnessed. Like, oh really? It came with the tool to like unscrew it. You literally took like the front and back off, and it just like comes off. It's so awesome. And I was like, all right, hell yeah, this rules. And then I took the plastic off, took this like, I can't remember if it was like blue or green wrapping off, and I had it like all ready. I called Kevin. I'm like, dude, I got this thing all fucking crazy. He's like, you didn't take the wrapping off, did you? And I was like, no. Yeah. He's like, no. Oh, that's the like static wrapping that like you could damage the machine if you like.
Well, where's the sign that says don't take this shit off?
It probably had a big sign. I was just like, fuck it, cut it off. Yeah, of course. I'm definitely blaming myself for that one, but it was just funny because he was like, dude. I was like, yeah, sorry. Yeah. Anyway, how's it going there? You guys said you were busy as shit, so.
Yeah, we made a lot of progress this week. You know, we had 4 extra people helping out and finishing. So it's just basically like folding and bagging and tagging and just like
all the good stuff.
It's insanity. Yeah. But I think at the end of the day today, we'll be caught up with that end of it, with the bagging and tagging stuff. So yeah, but we got other stuff. It's going to be a record January. That's for sure. So ain't complaining over here. How about you?
Yeah, we've been pretty busy this week, and orders have been picking up, which is awesome. Like, I was very bleak coming into this, being like, oh, fuck, it's going to be shitty, but it's been pretty good. I'm pretty happy. So I'm being optimistic. Good. But I am trying to get like 2 weeks worth of work done this week because I won't be here next week.
Oh, yeah. Long Beach is next week. And we... this comes out on Monday. Yeah. So we're going to be, Dylan and I will be posted up at M&R a lot at, I would say almost like all the time. basically.
Most of the day, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to sleep there. So if you are, if you see, which it's hard to miss, the M&R booth, come by, say hi. We'll be interviewing, some special guests, and it's the 40th anniversary for M&R, which is pretty dope. And we're going to record 2 episodes there.
We're going to record 2 shirt show episodes, and we're going to basically they made this sweet podcast interview booth, and they asked me and Andy to go be there for that and interview M&R people and customers and anyone who wants to come by and just share their experience about printing or anything, the show, whatever. So we'll be there hanging out. So come by, say hey. And then Thursday night is our shirt show happy hour with American Apparel and Live Nation. And there's going to be
Creed.
Creed will be there.
Limp Bizkit.
Right. Yeah. Yep. They'll all be there. You don't need a wristband. You can just show up. The information's on our Instagram. Come have free drinks, food, music, tanks, hot dogs. Free stuff given away. Be some exciting giveaways, so make sure you come for that. Frank.
It all starts with a screen, and whether it's new stretches or restretches, Frank and his team do it the best. To find out more, go to graphicscreenfashion.com,
rank.com,
or
greatfuckingscreens.com.
Cleaning screens is no fun, but EasyWay makes it way more funner. Their line of eco-friendly chemicals will make reclaiming screens a whole lot easier. Check them out at easyway.com. EasyWay.
It's the easiest way.
Dylan, GraphX is the source for production-ready digital art and remote art staffing. We use them every single day, and look, they can help any size shop, big or small. If you want to learn more, go to graphxsource.com or call 1-900-HotStuff.com.
S&S has been our go-to apparel source since day one. Discover an extensive range of apparel that blends innovative design and unbeatable comfort. Their customer service and quality control are the best out there. Check them out at ssactivewear.com. If you live under a rock and haven't tried the American Apparel 1301 garment dyed shirt yet, you are missing out, which is the shirt that all of our shirt show happy hour shirts are on. So if you like that shirt, that's what you're getting. This heavyweight cotton shirt has the rough and tumble vibe of your favorite concert tee. With a wide rib collar and that vintage faded look, this shirt definitely will be in your weekly wardrobe rotation. Ask your rep to get some for your showroom today. For over 90 years, Stiles has been the leading choice among apparel decorators for their heat transfer materials, heat press equipment, and custom transfer services. Not only do they offer some of the best products, but they are always looking to innovate and educate our industry on all things heat press. Head over to Stiles.com to order your transfers and check them out on YouTube to get taught a thing or two.
D, my guy. Who do we have today?
Today we have Angie Stiles of High Desert Prints. And you already let her in.
I did.
And there she is. Look at her.
Not or
Hi.
How's it going?
I think it is.
How's it going with you?
Good. Great. Thanks.
I got to see you for 3 seconds earlier when you were talking to Christina.
I know. Yeah, that was awesome. Little FaceTime action going there. So that was cool.
Yeah.
I'm totally fangirling right now.
Oh, that's
This is
good.
awesome.
Over Andy, of course.
Over Dylan, of course.
I'll let you guys fight amongst yourselves over
Okay,
it.
we will.
Yeah,
We will.
yeah.
Okay.
How's it going? How's your day?
It's been good. Yeah. Started early and the sun is out, which is great for wintertime. And so, it's awesome. Got some little bit of work done this morning, which is great. So, yeah.
Yeah.
How about you guys?
Andy and I were talking earlier about how our Januaries have been better than expected. Is that kind of similar for you too?
Yeah, actually super busy. And I was thinking I was going to get all these projects done around the shop and everything, and just get some new software that we got just set up and everything. And it's been just kind of nonstop, customers requesting things and stuff. So, I'm not complaining, but my to-do list is long. And we're going to ISS show next week. And so anyways, so I'm trying to cram it all in so that
Same. I'm doing the exact same thing.
Dylan?
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know what I thought, just as I'm standing here, I think that what would be cool for this episode anyway, to start it, it would be that, Angie kind of gives a little bit of background of her shop, right? Just like the origin story, just like normal. But then what's unique, I think, about her situation is that I think it was around a year ago, maybe 2, you decided that it was time to grow. And your approach was, I think, a little different than most, and you have gone the route of a few consultants and, trying to help you accelerate that growth. And if you could share how that experience has gone and why you chose that path to grow. And if you have any regrets or if you're really super happy or all this kind of stuff, I think that would be really interesting because I think a lot of people think about that. Oh, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, if you can remember everything Andy just asked after you give us your origin story.
What do you mean? There was like 3 things. That's it.
Give her a minute to tell her damn story.
God. Fine, whatever.
Yeah. Got it. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. No, I'd be happy to. No, I can remember that. So anyways, like our origin story was Jeff and I got married in 1990 and he got a job at a screen print shop. And so that's like, he didn't know anything about screen printing. And that's where he just started screen printing. He screen printed through college and worked at a few shops and there and stuff. And so I was actually an ophthalmic technician. I worked for an ophthalmologist in the medical field. And so anyways, Jeff was in law enforcement, and in about 2003, like he just really missed like the artistic side of screen printing. He loved like creating and, making shirts and stuff like that and designing and graphic design and that kind of thing. So we bought equipment, but as all, project ADD goes, you need somebody to keep it in line. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right? I'm not the project ADD. He is. So anyways, I just started like kind of promoting it. Like I would just like call schools and say, hey, can I just like, I'm trying to get in contact with your PTA president. Like, can you send me her number? They would actually give me like the home phone numbers of like PTA presidents and stuff. And I would call them and I just started getting like little jobs, and then the word just kind of spread. So we started just doing jobs out of our, garage and stuff. And it was cool. It was just lots of fun money. So we used it to pay for vacations. Jeff and I like to scuba dive. So we went to like lots of like cool exotic places and dove. And, if you needed a new car, like you just save up for a new car. It was just like fun money and play money. Nice. So anyway, yeah, and it was awesome. And then he was in law enforcement for 18 years. And about 2013, we just had like this crazy year. Like it started off, with, Jeff had been in law enforcement for 18 years and he was just like really looking for like a way like out of it. Like it's just a really long time to be in law enforcement in that field. So he'd been kind of like, we'd kind of been thinking that direction, but it's hard to give up like a really awesome like job.
A secure job. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. And so we had 4 kids. And so that makes it even harder. And fortunately, we didn't have a lot of debt, which was cool. But we started off the year with our daughter got into a sledding accident. She was 11 and she wrapped herself around a metal pole. And so anyway, she basically destroyed one of her kidneys, spent like a week in the hospital, just kind of like internally bleeding and, came home with one less kidney. And
That's
then,
insane. Wow.
Yeah.
I was going to share my sledding accident story, but I feel like lame about it because I had like 6 stitches and that's it. But
I went under a car.
We've all gone through a barbed wire fence, right? Yeah.
I mean, I think everyone has a sledding, because when we were kids, sledding, like you went sledding, like, and there was it wasn't supervised, and you like looked for the biggest, most dangerous. If you sled and you in the end at the bottom of the hill there was a highway, you didn't care, like it didn't matter. And so
our daughter has 2 older brothers. Yeah, she has 2 older brothers. She wants to do everything the boys do.
Well, she has a way more badass story about sledding
she does.
the rest of her life than we do.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Anyway.
And then later that year in April, so I've run the Boston Marathon a bunch of times. And so I was running Boston Marathon 2013, and that was the year of the bombing. And so we were like right in the middle of all that too.
Wow.
And so I was just already passed the finish line, but was near the finish line when all that happened and everything. So that was just kind of like a really surreal moment. And so some of those things like make you just like kind of reassess things. Like law enforcement was getting just heavy. Just like, working in that field was getting heavy. Like, our daughter being in the hospital, like the bombing and seeing like all that go down. And we just was like, we just want more control over our life. We want more control over our time and how we spend it, and being with our kids and that kind of thing. And so we just jumped in. We had this little side gig, like this little business. And we're like, Jeff just like exited law enforcement. And we just went in, jumped off the ledge and went into it.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy when you think about stuff like that, where you have this like almost like life-changing moment where you're like, I'm just going to pivot completely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally what we did. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So anyways, yeah. So fortunately we still had, that we had that to fall back on, or at least was something that we kind of wanted to always do anyways. Like it was just, it was something that was like just super fun for us. And so we kind of always had it in the back of our mind, but that we just made the decision.
But not anymore. It's not fun money anymore. Yeah. It's Bill's money now.
Not fun money anymore. That's the part that sucks, is that I don't have like this little little stash set aside that I'm like, like it's just there, just waiting for me to spend it. So now I have to actually like pay bills with it and all that stuff. I'm like, now we need a side gig to support our real gig.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyways, but that's kind of how we started. Just like a lot of people started in our garage. And so just the typical story as far as that goes.
What did you do when you made that change in your mind of, I want to do this full time? Was it like a quick, all right, let's start looking for places to move this out to and make it legit? Or was it like slowly, let's just stay at home still, but make this our focus? Like, what was the change?
Yeah. So part of one of the things, like I feel like we've always grown every year. So our business has always grown every year. It's, been better, but I do say that like our growth wasn't as good as it could have been because we did choose to stay and work out of our home shop until almost like 3 years ago. That was one of the things that was just like what really was important to us, was spending time with our family. And so unfortunately we had like a 5-car like garage. And so we were able to fit it in there, but we were home. We had 4 kids. Like when they left for school, we were home. When they came home for lunch, we were home. When they came home from school, we were home. Like all summer long, like we were home and stuff. And so we made that sacrifice to not grow our business as quickly as we could have so that we could stay home with our kids. It's been a great trade-off.
We've had lots of episodes though too, where you kind of look back on it and you're like, that was sweet though. Like in the moment, you're like, I want to grow. But then really you look back at it, you're like, yeah, but I had a job that supported me to be able to stay home and hang out with the kids and do this or that. So, I mean, it's kind of, people strive for that too. Like, I feel like a lot of people get in their heads of like, I gotta be here. I gotta be at this next thing. But it's like, just chill for a minute and realize like where you're at and what you're doing. Like
the real reason is the free child labor. You have them to just work all summer.
You don't have to pay them.
Yeah. You want to eat?
You better stack those 100 shirts or you're not eating dinner.
That's totally true. Yeah, absolutely. So anyways, it was great. I don't know if they thought it was great, but we thought it was great. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, like, I mean, I love, like, there's so many perks to working from home, but last year our youngest graduated from high school. And so about the year before that, that's when we left and the home-based business. Like we wanted to get an auto press so bad. Like it was like after manually printing for that long, we just couldn't fit it into our space. And so that's when we started like kind of actively looking for spaces because we were like, this gets old. Yeah.
So like Andy said, what was the change when you got to the new space? I'm guessing that's where you were like, hey, I need to get out of this mindset of, I guess, just what you were doing, where you're like, hey, how do I grow this, but grow this smart? And Christina kind of said it to me that made the most sense, where it was like, it's not like you were like looking for cheat codes necessarily to grow. You were like, well, why reinvent the wheel and do all this stuff when I can reach out to people that have been there, done that, so I can kind of skip those falling on my face times. Yeah. You know what I mean? Not necessarily skip, but have less of them. So was that your thinking of like, all right, I just want to get to this level where now that we're out and we're in a space, I can do all of this comfortably without kind of scraping by for a couple of years first?
Yeah. I just figured there's like no point in goofing around. Mm-hmm. And so I had decided that we were, like I said, like I didn't see any point in reinventing the wheel. I mean, other people have grown successful shops, and I didn't see any point in like trying to like just, do the same thing over and then fail if I could just reach out and find somebody. And so anyways, I just decided like it was time to like grow, and I wanted to just grow faster because I felt like we sacrificed so many years of growth to be home with our kids, which I'm not complaining about by any means, but now it's just, time to like make it big. And so we had interviewed a bunch of coaches. So they were coaches that I had reached out to business mentors and to acquaintances and stuff. And we interviewed probably 5 different coaches, and they all had like awesome pitches. Like they all like made me super excited. But then when it came down to it, like they didn't really I didn't really know what the nuts and bolts were. Like, where's like, how do they implement everything? How do they help me personally? Like, I feel like our industry is so specific and unique, and I just didn't know how they were going to help me. They could,
so you're saying,
tell me all this.
Are you saying these coaches were not in our industry? These were just business coaches. Okay.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They were just business coaches, and they all had like amazing pitches, and they just all made you feel good. Lots of woo-woo stuff. But it also sounded like a lot of stuff like I could read a book and figure out.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of those people tend to be like just motivational speakers. Like they just go on and find more stuff to regurgitate to people to be like, hey, listen to me, I'm smart. Like I know all these terms, but like, all right, if you know these things, why are you not doing them for yourself? Where it's like, I see all these like influencer people that are like, get with me and we'll do your SEO and this, and we'll grow your following to like 1 million or whatever. And then you look at their page and they're like 9,000 followers. And it's like, well, what is happening here? So how do you weed through that stuff? Like, how do you find, I guess I want to step back to like, what was your first thing that you wanted to get as somebody to help you? Were you thinking like the business in general? Or were you thinking a specific thing for production, or what was your first thing you wanted to tackle?
First thing I wanted to tackle was just revenue. I wanted to increase our revenue and stuff, but I wanted to do it in a smart way. I didn't want to increase our revenue and not be able to keep that, revenue coming. I didn't want to like have like this big growth, but then have it disappear because we weren't doing it correctly. Mm-hmm. And so that was really important to me. And then as far as like, just like, shop. I mean, Jeff's worked, he worked at different shops when he was younger, but like everything else, you just kind of figure out on your own. And same with business. Like we didn't have any like business class. Jeff got his degree in zoology, and I got mine in, as an ophthalmic technician. And so we didn't really know anything about business per se. I mean, obviously we had built it big enough that we were paying our bills and we hadn't lost our house. So that was cool. And we still were able to go on vacation and stuff, but we just wanted to build it in something bigger where we were basically not working in our business so much, and that we can more like work on our business. And so that was really important to me. But I also wanted somebody that could just help like with making connections and giving us like advice that was specific to our industry. And so I had actually just one day had like this epiphany. I was like, I'm just going to like send a DM to Shirt Show and to Print Hustlers podcast. I'm just going to send out a message and to see if I get a response. And that's when I got connected to Andy and to Steven, both of them. And at the time, Steven actually was doing a coaching program, but he wasn't soliciting it. And so he was just reached out and he's like, hey, like I'm actually doing this already. I'm not soliciting it. So nobody knows about it, but that's what kind of helped, with making that decision. I was like, this is exactly like what I'm looking for is somebody in our industry that can help move us forward in our business.
So let's get the dirt on Steven. How did that go?
It was great. No, super amazing. Like he was, he had lots of ideas, especially like marketing ideas, which is exactly where one of the things we wanted to start with was with revenue. And then also like just production and stuff, was able to help Jeff out with a lot of ideas. And he worked with us for 3 months. He does 3-month engagements at the time. I don't know if that's changed now, because now I know that he's actually promoting it. But and we worked with him for 3 months. We engaged in a lot of like business building techniques, like customer service techniques, marketing techniques, that kind of stuff that I wasn't like really that savvy to. It's kind of like you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And so there were just things I just didn't know. And I'm like, well, that's smart. Like, let's implement that.
We don't need to get into the specifics, but just like, what were some of the things that you changed? Like, what were some things that you started doing differently that you weren't doing before?
I think the big one, and Steven's talked about it a lot on his podcast, was just the AOV. So the average order value, and following like your average order value, like trying to get like orders to come in, you know what your average order value is, and then just trying to like stack up those orders that you get each month. And so that's probably one of the biggest things, is that I actually started like tracking our orders. So everything from our previous, like all of our QuickBooks, everything went into like these spreadsheets, and we were able to like look at our past numbers and compare them to our current numbers that we were getting each month and see how we were growing. And so I think that's the biggest thing, like, what is it like, what you track, grows. And so we were able to track that stuff. And so like December was one of those months that's normally like, it's, kind of on the lower end of revenue. But because I was tracking it this last December, like we had like one of our best Decembers and stuff. It was because I knew like what my goal was, and I knew like that I wanted to make it happen. And so like any customer that was coming to me and I had already given them an estimate or something like that. Like if I hadn't heard from them, I'm like, I'm going to call them and see if they're ready to put their order in, and just remind them and see if I can like build this up. And so we totally like met our goal and met our yearly goal. And I didn't think it was going to happen. Like 3 weeks in December, I was like, that's not going to happen. And then it ended up totally happening. So
with all that AOV stuff, was that showing you, once you had all the data in front of you, was that showing you how to pitch orders or to go after clients that had similar order values? Was that kind of the approach to it, or was it just more overall tracking?
Yeah, it's kind of like, when like in the past, like, okay, these are the people that ordered from you the past year or the past 2 years and stuff. And so it's like, hey, I was looking on my spreadsheet here and I see like this customer ordered last December, and hey, maybe they want to order this December too. Let's call them and remind them like, hey, like I noticed, you ordered for this event, or you ordered employee appreciation gifts last year. Would you like to do something like that for your employees again this year? And they're like, yeah, that's a great idea. So that like totally helped like be able to direct where I was trying to like market to.
And so you did this yourself? I mean, you didn't have an outside sales rep or something. Like you made time to do this personally.
Yeah. That was kind of one of the things we learned was that, the first 30 minutes of your day should be like sending out 10 emails to customers or calling, 5 customers or something like that. And so making it more of a priority of the day to do that first thing so that you can get that checked off your list and then, try to fill in.
Mm-hmm. So what was the next thing? What did you dive into after that?
So after that, it was just implementing. So it's been months of just trying to implement. We had some different ideas of ways to kind of branch out in our business, or like marketing ideas. And so that's what we did next, is just trying to implement like this over the past year, all those things that we learned. So, and again, we grew. So I'm calling it success.
And if you grew last year, then that's saying something too, because last year was pretty rough for a lot of people. So
I think we had a 24% increase in our revenue. So,
and I think you said something important, and you hit on the fact that you can have these sales, but if you can't support it properly, then you're gonna upset some customers and potentially lose them, and you won't sustain it. Yeah, sure, and maybe it will spike or whatever, but then you can't if you can't support with your production or whatever, or your team. Let's say you don't have a large enough team. Well, then how do you control that growth so you can? And so I don't know. What did you do? Production wise, did you hire more people to help? I know that you had an automatic you had an auto, but it wasn't like assembled and working or something. You were still manually.
Yeah, that was
so like
right. Well, it is assembled and it does work. So, but we bought an auto from a shop in Las Vegas, and it was a great deal. And we were like, this is amazing. So we actually drove to Vegas and picked that up. And it turns out it wasn't exactly what they said it was. So bad news is we got kind of gypped by some really nice people that apparently weren't as nice as we thought they were. Good news is Jeff had to tear that thing apart. And there's a joke in our house that if Jeff can't fix it, it's because he doesn't want to. So he's pretty resourceful. And he like ended up having to go through the entire thing and put it, back together again and fix a bunch of parts. And so now he knows a lot about our press. So
I mean, that's the benefit. That's the benefit of doing that.
Yeah.
I had that with a bunch of used equipment we had for years. Like I had an old Sprint dryer and we had issues with it. It worked. It's just, it had like these, I don't know, all these different random issues, but come to find out, I would replace a part in a line of, 30 parts, and that wasn't the part that needed fixed. And then I went to the next thing and tweaked that and cleaned that and fixed that. And then it ended up being literally the last part in the line that needed fixed. So me doing that, now I knew everything about that dryer. Like I knew literally every part. Exactly. I knew what could go wrong. I could know how to change it because I spent weeks like on the phone with like the tech and going through all these things and replacing the parts. So, I mean, it's kind of sweet. Like it is nice to know all that. Like if you would have just gotten it and then delivered, like you wouldn't have known that. But I mean, it sucks to have to go through that, but
it did. Yeah, it took us like months to put it together, like put it together and then do like this thing doesn't work and then disassemble it and like get all the parts and put it back together and go, okay, now this doesn't work. And so
I'm gonna ask you though, because we just got done talking about skipping to the expert so that you can get rid of all those headaches. Why didn't you just have a tech come out?
I recommended this. So I had a phone call with you about a year ago, roughly.
It was, and it was like life-changing. Seriously, it was so helpful.
I paid her to say that.
Yeah, she's lying on her ass. I could tell.
And so one of the things I recommended was have a tech come, and I say this to anyone, and I understand that, maybe Jeff's really resourceful and it is good that he learned how to now fix the press. That's great. However, I've always said, look, a tech works on this press every single day. They have their instruments that within
they
like
have tools
1,000
that are real tools. Like they give tools that are custom to like level pallets and all this other stuff. And
in literally a few days, it's working and it's great. And then you're doing what your thing, calling your customer, calling accounts that are AOVs and whatever. And then did he know how to run an auto or did you have to learn that? Yeah. And so now he's got to teach himself, okay, well, I'm a great manual printer, but now what do I do? And so it's like, I don't know. I've always said, have a tech come out and assemble your press if you buy it pre-owned from wherever it is, put it back together and make it work like it's brand new. And they're very good at that. And they can do that in less than a week. And I know you said you were in Idaho or whatever, and there wasn't anyone around or you couldn't get anybody okay.
So the funny thing is after that phone call, Andy, like you were probably the only person that could have talked Jeff into getting a tech to come out. Like he was like, once he talked to you, he was like, okay, sold. I'm going to have a tech come out and do it. And we tried, like we couldn't get anybody to come do it. Like either they didn't return our phone calls or they wouldn't come to Idaho and I think we tried 2 or 3 of them. And we had some like other connections of people that were trying to hook us up with techs and we couldn't get, and they're like, no, we don't work on those. Yeah. So we were kind of stuck. We did have like another shop owner that was like, well, I think I could, like he was in Minnesota or something crazy. He's like, maybe I could come out and help you. And we were like, oh, that's asking a lot.
Yeah.
So anyways,
at least getting the training on how to use the press and all that would have been nice from another shop owner. You know what I mean?
It would have been we had a local shop that does contract printing and he actually said, I'd be happy to come over and show you how to use it and stuff. But in the meantime, like Jeff had already kind of figured it out at that point. So yeah. And there's still he's like, I could still like benefit like from learning from somebody, just like some of the tips and tricks and stuff that he's still figuring out.
And we talk about this a lot though too. I mean, one thing you guys could do is you said you guys like to travel and scuba and what all this other stuff is just when in your travels, like if you're going to take a vacation, just look for like 5 or 6 shops on the way. Like that's what we do. And I visit tons of shops just because, and they're almost always like welcoming, like come in. And the nice thing is you could walk in and be like, oh, and it's always the stupid little stuff that you see, like how they, transfer ink from A to B, or how they catalog this, or how do they have this on press or whatever. It's like, you see those things, you're like, fuck, I can take that back to my shop. And like, that would make a big difference. So maybe instead of having somebody come to you, you go to them and then kind of like, train on their equipment or see how they run their shop or what they're doing.
Yeah, that was cool. We did that after Print Hustlers. We were actually headed up. We were like, oh, like we're already this far, east. Let's go ahead and go up to Niagara and check Niagara out and stuff. So we rented a car. And actually, one of the reps from Rock hooked us up with a shop in Buffalo. And we went Buffalo Shirt, I think is what was.
Yeah, New Buffalo.
Yeah, New Buffalo. There you go. And he was awesome. And so he totally like welcomed us in, and we spent like a couple hours with him, just like checking out his shop, talking to him and stuff. And
Shirt
we're like,
scientist.
we're going to do this everywhere we go. What did you call him?
Shirt scientist.
That's his Instagram,
nice.
I think, or something.
Yeah, that's what he is on Instagram.
Is it? That's cool. Didn't know that.
All right.
Yeah.
So, Angie, did we miss anything? So you decided to hire a consultant, and you're no regrets. Steven is awesome. We all know Steven.
Not at all.
I think though, so where are you at now? Are you for 2025? Are you set? Is there any more consulting? Are you on that growth trajectory still, or are you big enough?
Absolutely looking. Yeah, absolutely looking for the next step. So I figure like, okay, we got here. We like when you said like, how did with all the additional production that we had to do, and did we hire somebody? We didn't hire anybody additional. We just worked way harder and stuff. Just now, really, what we need to do is just build it up so that we can hire another employee and stuff. But we want to like build up that revenue, like just a little bit higher, and see some consistency in it before we have to. And part of the reason why is because the employee that we want to bring in is actually our son. And so he's shown an interest.
But he's got to earn it.
Right? Will you tell him that? That'd be cool.
You don't want him to just walk in.
I remember having a conversation, and I can't believe because I've been in this situation.
I know you have.
And I, how do you say? I just gave you a little bit of insight. Maybe that's the best way to put it, on family members and hiring a son and all that kind of stuff, because there's a dynamic there, and you don't want to destroy your relationship, because it's most important. Number one is that this is my son. I love him. And all of a sudden I'm his boss. What's that like? Yeah. That could be hard.
I don't know yet. That's the thing. That's why I asked you about it. And so, so that's kind of the thing. Like, he's married. He's an awesome kid, incredibly intelligent. Like, I think he would be a real asset here. And he really wants to, buy the business from us someday, which is kind of an awesome idea and stuff. But I've had all these conversations. I'm like, what if we hire you and you hate us? What if our, business is struggling? Like, it's easier to lay off somebody that you don't know, as opposed to like your son who has, a house payment and a wife and all that stuff. Like, it just makes things kind of tricky. So I definitely see like there might be some trade-offs there, but he is actually going to come to ISS show with me instead of Jeff. And so we're going to give him like a little introduction to screen printing and see what he thinks.
I think the cool thing is
that, go ahead.
The cool thing is that if it is your son, and eventually that he wants to take over or whatever, like, maybe just be transparent with him from the get-go of like, hey dude, like, we want you to be here, but also like, you need to realize, like, if I want something done or I need it done, like, this is my shop, like, this is my place. I need you to understand that when I come at you with some frustration about something, that it's just because it's the business, not because I'm mad at you or it's an issue.
Right. It's hard to separate that, though. It's hard to separate.
I get that, but I mean, if you're up front with it, like, don't have them in all fucking, like, oh, everything's going to be awesome, this is going to rule, you're going to love this, and then crush his dreams when you come at him. Like, why the hell are you doing this? So like, maybe just be up front about it.
Two quick stories. One, I was assistant coach for my kids' baseball team for a little bit, and he thought because, I'm dad, then I would favor him or not be as hard on him, but I was harder Like I made his life miserable.
So you were that dick dad who was a good.
I was, because I'm not going to be. You're not going to be treated any better than the rest of your team. And so same thing goes when he was here. And this was when he was younger, not anymore. But when he was like a teenager, and he'd come here to help out in the summers, you know. And so he was working with the team, and then he would come in here, like literally. There's a KFC, you can see it from our window. He would come in here at like, I don't know, 10:30. He's like, Dad, I'm going to run to KFC. I'm like, what do you mean? Like lunch break is at 11:30. What are you talking about? He goes, I'm starving. Going to run to KFC. I'm like, no, you're not. Like nobody else is running to KFC. Because you're my son, because you're working here. You can go run to KFC and go back on press.
Like, but Dad, I want some tendies.
For real. And I get it, but like, what do you mean? And so like, it was a no. And then he's like, oh, you know, and he walks off. Right. And so like and I'm not saying your kid is going to crave KFC, you know, and I have to run and go.
Well, I doubt if he did.
But there's those things, you know, that happen, and you have to be, you have to say no, and then they're upset with you, and then they leave, and they've seen you all day, and then you're like, hey, come over for dinner on this weekend. Like, I saw you all week, you know, whatever, and you told me to fuck off about the KFC, you know, then they're mad, and so you don't see them on the weekend.
We totally had this conversation with him. Yeah. I was like, yeah, like if you work with me all day, then you're not going to want to come over for Sunday dinner, because my kids come over for Sunday dinner and every week. And I'm like, you're not going to want to see me. And he's like, that's not true. I'm not going to turn down free food. And I'm like, oh, that's true. So, yeah.
I'm not where you are. I mean, you said your son's older and married and all this other stuff, but my son just turned 14 and I got him his working papers, and it's always been something I've been looking forward to be like, all right, well, this is your first job. But also he kind of has that mindset too. If he sees what I do, like from the outside, he sees, oh, Dad just sits in the office all day and just kind of like farts around, does whatever. But the reality is that's not it. But I've done all the other jobs here to get to where I'm at. And he's like, oh, can I work in the office with you? And I'm like, nah, dude, like you're going to pull shirts and be at the end of the dryer and like clean screens and like all. He immediately is like, oh, I get to just like have an office and like
do a podcast,
and work on my computer all day. And I'm like, no, dude, like maybe eventually, but right now you need to learn the shop. So my question to you is like, if he comes in, is he going to be like an all around doing everything kind of thing? Or do you have a specific thing you want him to do?
No, like he wants to learn the whole business. I was just sharing with him some of like the financial parts of the business and stuff. And so same kind of things, what you're just talking. He's like looking at it, he's like, wait, are we rich? And I'm like, well, you're not rich.
Right. I mean, what's this we? You got a mouse in your pocket?
Exactly. So anyways, no, I'm like, no, we're not rich. Like there's all sorts of bits and pieces to this financial here. So anyways, but yeah, he wants to learn the whole business. And so he wants to learn everything from what I do to what Jeff does. I'm actually like really I'm looking forward to him learning a lot more about like running like the actual business. And then that will free up a ton of time for me if he can start doing some of the stuff that I do, so I can do more marketing.
Right. But I do think you should start him out in the shop. And a lot of people say this. We haven't done this here because I think I would get murdered. But is just like have the people in the office work in the shop for a specific period of time. Mm-hmm. So they get a feel for what it's like to be on press, what it's like to pull shirts, what it's like to clean a screen, so that when they sell a job, they know what it takes. They know, you know, all these different things. So that's what I mean. You said he kind of wants to do the whole thing and run around, but do you have a plan of like, all right, well, maybe you do a month in this position, a month in this position, or is it just he's here today? Where can I put him and see how it goes?
Yeah, we actually talked to him. So we're honestly going to he's going to start cleaning screens.
Hell yeah. So, perfect. Which,
I mean, I think I cleaned a screen like once before Jeff. I cleaned a screen. I said, what can I do to help? This is years ago, like 2004. And I said, what can I do to help? And he's like, you know, you can clean the screen. And I cleaned a screen, and he looked at it and he's like, I think I'll do it. And he never let me clean a screen since, which is score for me.
You just did that thing. You did that thing where you did it bad on purpose. So you could be like for me, it's like, oh, I can't fold laundry. Yeah. And it's like, like you work at a t-shirt place, like you fold clothes for a living. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, I can't.
It's like, you know, something's wrong with your car, like the headlight or something. And you're just like, it doesn't get changed. And you're like, so you just go out there and start doing it yourself. And they're like, move, I'll do that. Mm-hmm. So Yeah. So anyway, so he's gonna start like basically like cleaning screens and stuff. And he has a really good job right now. And I hate to see him leave it, but I also don't know that there's ever a good time for you to leave an awesome job with benefits, just like what we did. I mean, it's in 2013. It's not an awesome time to ever leave a great job with benefits and go and, start a business. But I'm letting him drive that boat so that he knows like, or that car, whenever he wants to come in, and I'm not forcing him to do it. So when he does it, it's going to be his decision.
Mm-hmm. I would say this to that. I would say it's a risk to start your own business, or it's a risk to leave that safety of a secure job. But I would say it's a bigger risk to stay there. Because why? Because you aren't in control of your future. At least with your own shop, that's up to you. If that thing sinks or swims, that's up to you. And so you're in control you're in the driver's seat, and it's way riskier putting your life, trusting your job security to someone else. And so I'm all for the go all in, make it happen, be in a corner and fight for survival, because, if you've got what it takes, then you'll make it work. And so anyway.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So we're totally looking to I want to learn from other shops and, learn from other business owners, especially like within our industry, and just find out like, what did they do to make their, what did they do to make their shop successful? Because I don't think that we're that much different. Like, I think we're doing like all the right things. We're super hard workers. Like, I mean, we're like seeking to grow, and we're awesome with our customers. We provide like an excellent product. Like, I'm really like confident in what we can do. And so I'm pretty excited for 2025.
Are you a part of any like industry groups where you can kind of lean on them for questions to grow that, or you kind of just...
Well, the ones I know about, like, Facebook, like there's the Print Mafia that, I watch that one and just read things there. If I had any questions, obviously, like if I needed to reach out to Steve, he still is there as a consultant to us. If I've made lots of like kind of good friends at other shops, just going to industry specific events and stuff. And so we've been able to reach out to them but as far as like other specific groups, maybe I'm missing some. I don't know. Tell me what they are.
Well, there's the Shirt Show Discord that has a ton of people in it, and they're all super friendly. And if they're not friendly, they get kicked out. So you can go in there safely.
Cool. I've logged in before, but I haven't spent much time on there.
Yeah, there's Facebook's good. It's just usually you get pummeled with negative people, but
I've heard you say that. That's why I don't ask questions. Just read other people's questions and watch them get pummeled.
Yeah, exactly.
I would make your own group.
Go ahead.
I would I like the idea of making your own group. First of all, I don't want to be in any groups anymore. That's just right now. I'm anti-group. But if you are if you're at that spot in your journey, is that lame to say?
Yeah.
Then perfect. What I was going to say is that I have recently become the owner of a big ass calendar, and it's really cool. I'm just learning it, but I wanted to share and ask one thing that is part of this whole theory on, kind of planning out your year. And that is you're supposed to do one big thing, and that is the Misogi Challenge. And it's a yearly challenge to do something difficult to create a lasting memory and personal growth. The goal is to do something so challenging that it affects the rest of the year. And so, it's early in the year where it's in January, and now's the time to come up with that thing. And if you don't know it, it's the time, to think about it. Like, what would it be? Like, so that every year of your life, you have this special thing that's big, and you actually put it on the calendar instead of like, I want to do this. Then you don't even
like later in the year I'll do this,
and then you kick the can down the road to 2026, and then the same thing happens again, and you just never really do it. And so instead, it's like, what is the one big thing that I am going to accomplish and actually do it? And the thing is you can even, I wouldn't call it fail. You can fail to succeed. But not, you can succeed in failing. That's what I used to tell my kid. Like, if he did something and he didn't do it, I was like, you succeeded in failing. It was a success. You tried and you figured it out. And so I think that you can still maybe not complete that thing, but I'm going to try. And so I have what I think I know is mine, and it may get replaced here in the next week. But I thought I would ask you two if you had anything, and if you didn't, maybe you could have a few ideas of what they would be and share them. But I know you're just putting you on the spot. Dylan's eyes got really big right there.
Are you going to share yours, Andy?
I can go first. I'll give you a second to think about it. Yeah. So mine.
Well, I kind of have an idea, but go ahead.
Okay. My thing is I want to go to Europe. And so I've never been, I've traveled extensively. Did I steal yours, Dylan, just now?
I mean, yeah, kind of. It's okay.
I've traveled a lot, like tons domestically. I've been everywhere, and also to Canada, Mexico, and things like that, and now Honduras and Central America. But I've never been to Europe. And I want to blame that on my extreme drive to build a screen printing company. But I'm tired of making that excuse, because I've done that, and I don't, so what? Like, big deal. I've done that, and it's here and it's there, and I don't want to do that anymore. I'm okay with not doing that anymore. And I want to do something completely different. And I'm going to take some time out, go to Europe for not just like a week or something, like go there for a bit. I don't know what it would be, but like at least 2 weeks and maybe longer. And so, that's my big goal. And I'm going to put it on the calendar, and I'm going to do it.
That's
there.
Awesome. That's
mine.
on our list of things to do this year in the fall. Is go to Italy. So
have you been?
And we have it on the calendar. We haven't been to Europe. So the same thing as you. Like, we've traveled.
We're all going. Sounds like we're all going to Europe.
Yeah, and so we're going to go to Europe, but and we have a date because we're going to hit up an F1 race in Monza while we're there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Sounds
but that's not my big thing.
Oh,
So
okay.
I have that calendar. Yeah.
Oh, you do?
So, yeah. I haven't planned out the year yet, though. So
did you do this? Did you have that calendar last year too? Okay. And so how did it work?
But I didn't do it. I didn't do it. So this is comical. I actually told Jeff, because we have a roll-in printer, and so he's making stickers, and we're replacing all the dates, and we're reusing it for this year. But this year we're actually going to do it. So I already have my hard thing that I'm going to do. So, and it's not fasting from 6 p.m. to 6 p.m. every Sunday, That's Jesse, I think is his name.
Yeah, Jesse Eitzler. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I haven't run a marathon. I've wanted to do an ultra marathon for years, probably at least 10, 15 years.
Okay.
I wanted to do an ultra, and I haven't done it yet. I've done lots of marathons, but not an ultra. So this is my year to do an ultra this fall.
What qualifies an ultra? Is it like 50 miles or something? Is it a double the?
So anything over a marathon is considered an ultra. So, and I'm going to do a 50K because that sounds like the most fun. And so, and I want to do it somewhere cool, like along a coast or in the wilderness or something like that. And so that's on my hard thing to do this year. So, yeah, Dylan.
No, I got nothing. I can't run an ultra marathon. I can't
Sure you could.
I don't know. I don't know, maybe a couple weeks ago, Christina sent me the thing about a trip to Egypt, and my mind, we went and saw the Mayans temples and stuff last year, and I think that I want to do that stuff once a year, where I go visit some, something that's older, old as shit, and you can kind of be in awe of. That's not, I'm very over modern stuff, strip malls and all this other shit. I just want to go somewhere and be this is something I can look at and be in awe of. So I kind of want to do see the pyramids and stuff like that. So, and me and Andy were in talks of, separately from, I don't know, his fucking 6-month journey to Europe. We were talking about going over there and hanging out and seeing some shops and maybe go to Poland or something. But
that sounds cool.
I don't know. I want to do that, but I think just for the shop in general, I want to kind of change things up and do some things a little bit differently this year. I want to visit more trade shows that are out of our industry. Go see some things, talk to some people, figure out if that's a good route to acquire some new, larger customers. So those are my two kind of list bucket things this year that I want to do.
yeah, I wanted to put manufacturing trade shows on my list. Like that, I think those might be awesome customers.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it'd be fun to just go and hang out. I mean, not necessarily get a booth, but just go attend a show and like talk to people, because that's what we do now, like ISS and stuff, is we go and we end up talking and meeting a bunch of new people. It's like, why not go do that in a different industry where it's like, oh yeah, I own like a chain of like 35 stores or something. And you're like, oh cool. Well, how about I do the merch for all 35 stores? And then
yeah, absolutely.
Whatever. Exactly. Just meet some people. Did that satisfy your itch, Andy, for this calendar, or do you got more to add for that?
Yeah, I'm still learning about if even going to Europe qualifies as that hard challenge or whatever, because it seems kind of fun.
I mean, that's a huge thing.
I think maybe that's true, right? It's big enough.
It's perspective.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's not running an ultra marathon, that's for sure. It's just like I'm sitting on a plane and then I land and I eat good food and look at pretty sights, you know. So all I hear when
no offense, I just when I hear the ultra marathon stuff, I just think of those videos of people like shitting their pants because they can't stop.
That's not me.
Yeah, okay.
You know what? The prize money, there's no prize money. If I'm not going to poop my pants for no prize money. So yeah, not going to happen. You got to give me a good amount of cash to do that.
It's all I think of.
I had this idea. So yeah, here, check this out. So I spend a lot of time on a treadmill. As you know, I've talked about this on past episodes, and I think that, and I love being on a treadmill because you don't have to focus on getting hit by a car or being attacked by zombies or a bear or anything like that. You can just put your headphones in,
obviously,
just on your treadmill. And so I had this crazy idea that, you know, wouldn't it be cool? Because, you know, there's people that walk across the country, you know. So I thought about putting the treadmill in the back of a truck, and then I just walk on the treadmill as the truck drives across the country. So that way I can say I've walked across the country, but it's just on a treadmill, and it would go much faster, and I won't have to worry about getting hit by cars, you know, and bears.
The dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Shut up, Dylan. Don't judge me. I'm telling you a truth here. I'm being vulnerable. Okay?
I'm telling you a truth too, that you're a fucking moron.
Angie, is it a cool idea? I mean, come on. You know it's good.
That's an idea. It's an idea.
Sure is.
People will be like, he's on the. What? Can you imagine seeing this truck drive down the road and there's a dude on a treadmill just walking?
Just walking.
And, yeah.
I think it would make a good reality show.
Okay, well that's what it'll be. Exactly. There you go.
Maybe you could, work with the networks and get a good reality show out of that.
All right. Well, that's my okay. Well, I've changed my my Misogi challenge to I'm going to walk across the country on a treadmill. Because I just love it. I love that. Just sounds better to me.
I rode my bike from Seattle to Portland one time, and it's about 200 miles. And
Damn.
As far as dodging cars and animals, it's a real thing. So I got to admire you for a great idea.
Can't you do the things on like Peloton or whatever where it's actual like roadways?
Well, yeah, virtual.
Well,
it's not actual.
Where's the
Dylan.
adventure in that?
It's virtual.
You're telling me you're just going to ride in the back of like a fucking Ford Ranger, like open air walking?
Yes. Yeah. I'll just have like a ski goggle on or something.
Anytime he accelerates or brakes, you're dead.
Dylan is volunteering to drive is what I'm hearing.
Don't ruin this.
I will drive. Yeah.
Good entertainment for that.
Just burnouts every corner.
Don't fuck up my Misogi challenge, Dylan.
I'm going to one-wheel peel every chance I get.
I would support you. I'd support you in your whatever you said.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
You support me.
Poland.
All right.
Poland.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Look, we have 3 over-unders today. Just let me know if you think they're overrated, underrated, or properly rated. The first one is handwritten letters.
Oh, underrated for sure. Nobody picks up a pen anymore. Well, I do. I get a pen, but
I think they are underrated to a client, but I think overrated when people write in cursive. I think cursive is stupid.
To a client, you're saying, oh, I didn't even think about that. You're saying to a customer or something, you're just like write them a handwritten letter.
Anytime we send something like a care package or a sample or whatever, I always push them to write a handwritten note, because it's like, you don't want to just like, if you saw a handwritten note in something, you're just going to toss it without reading it. You would read it.
You're saying, but not in cursive.
Cursive stupid. Get rid of that shit.
We put handwritten notes in our orders. So we have little note cards with their logo on it. In the back, we just like, if it's for like a race or something, hey, hope you have a great race, like car show, like hope the car show's awesome. Yeah.
Speaking of a cheat for that, I saw, and I have it saved on Instagram, where this lady got cards made. I can't remember what it was. She sold a product where she wanted a handwritten note and everything, and she used to handwrite them, but it got to the point where it was like, hundreds of orders a day or whatever, and it's just like this huge pain in the ass. So she ended up doing something where she got like a Cricut and replaced the cutter with a pen, and then made her own font on Photoshop with her own handwriting, so that she could just type the note now.
Yeah.
And then the Cricut writes it on the card with the pen.
Sweet.
So it actually has like the indents and the ink, and it's her handwriting because she made a font with her handwriting. So now you just hit print and it just writes all these notes for her.
Okay, what you just described is it's similar to walking across America on a treadmill in the back of a truck, because, she's not really writing it. She's just typing it. I'm not really walking across America. So deep down, I know you support.
I couldn't slow blink any slower to that response.
Okay, number 2 is sauerkraut.
Garbage.
Overrated for sure.
What?
Yeah. No, I know you're thinking of your gut biome and all that stuff right now, Andy. Up.
She's onto it. Okay, so here's what we got. Ready? I'm going to break it down for you straight up. Here it is. Anti-inflammatory, improved digestion, sauerkraut, probiotics.
Gross as fuck.
Sauerkraut contains antioxidants to help reduce inflammation and protect against DNA damage. Sauerkraut probiotics help diversify the healthy bacteria in your gut, which can aid in digestion. Stronger immune system, improved heart health, better mood and behavior. Come on, who doesn't want that? Stronger bones. We need that. Reduced risk of cancer. Sauerkraut. Who knew?
The problem, you got to put it in your mouth and chew it.
Good. Yeah, it's actually pretty good. I just got some from Trader Joe's. They had and with pickles in it even, and so I grabbed some up, and I'm just eating at least, what would it be, like a couple tablespoons a day for all of those reasons. Yeah. So you guys, I've got improved all of this stuff. Just so you know, I think it's incredibly underrated. Didn't know. Last thing is, controversial. DTF.
Oh, that one's tough. Dylan, you go first.
I'm going to say proper. I think that it's kind of slightly underrated in the sense that a lot of people get a bad taste in their mouth for DTF because they tried it once in the early days of it, or they tried a printer who wasn't very good at it. And then they're like, I don't like this. This is gross. This feels like a sticker. This is whatever. I do feel that if you get the right printer, the right technique, the right pressing, post press, it is awesome. But again, it has a place. It's for a specific client. It's for, you let them know it's not a screen print replacement, but I think it's going to, be a huge tool in our shop.
Yeah, I'm going to ditto Dylan on that one. It's not our preference of decoration, but it's given us a lot of options. So I do love it for that.
Anything,
Okay.
Andy?
Yeah, what's your opinion, Andy?
You can ask the question and not answer.
Yeah. I think that I'm probably pretty close to Dylan's answer, properly rated. I personally am not investing in my own DTF machine to print anything. I think that it has the perfect applications. Like there's some things that it's just like, this was born to be DTF. Like this is just can't get better than that. But I think that we've tried a lot.
I was going to say like your mom, but I didn't want to hurt your feelings.
Well, they're hurt anyway. You went ahead and did it. You went ahead and hurt my.
I had to. I was like, it was sitting there and I couldn't not.
Pretend I didn't
You're
hear
welcome.
it, but it was a good one. It was a good one. But I think that we've experimented. We've tried to replace certain things, certain orders with it, and it doesn't really work that way. And so we found our spot, and I think DTF has that spot, and so that's where we're using it for. And so maybe that's why I land on properly rated. Yeah, I think it's properly.
How much have you guys put into your shop with DTF? Are you doing a decent amount of orders with it, or are you kind of shying away from it?
For us personally,
Yeah.
we're not shying away from it. I like it. I mean, I would say probably only like 10, maybe 15%. Like, I mean, it's a pretty low number. It's hard to get Jeff to not screen print something like but he just did a big DTF order the other day. We just ordered a new heat press and one of the dual pneumatic ones. It's pretty cool. Yep. And so anyway, so we're pretty excited about that, but I think it's like a great option for certain, like high color, low quantity things to be able to offer to our customers that have these crazy logos and they can't place big orders, or they want like photorealistic or something like that we do, like some big orders. I've done some orders just on our single head, like heat press that's been like 150 shirts, and I wanted to shoot myself when it was done. So anyways, I don't know why I was doing it, not my employee, but
you need your son to do it.
Yeah, get him in there.
Yeah.
I think that's a good answer. Honestly, I think that, and also I should qualify this as, this is our shop. I think that a shop that, let's say, has a bunch of stores, that they build out that are like, for example, like Steven, even like NIL situations where you're doing one-offs or whatever it is, then it's like the perfect.
And most of his stuff is a picture of a player. So it's like perfect for that.
It's perfect. Whereas our shop is, it's just not, it doesn't fit that the same way. But there are some things we use it for, but just not the same as like somebody who's running like 100 stores at all times, and fulfilling within those stores on multicolor and fulfilling like print on demand even, during that. And so I get it in those situations. It's great.
Yeah, we totally use it for our stores. Yeah, it's been awesome. I told Christina, I promised I'd give you a shop hack.
Yeah, okay. I was about to ask
for Dylan.
Yeah, go ahead.
Dry eye.
Oh yeah.
What is it? What is it? What'd you say?
Yesterday I sat at my computer and I just worked from I got here whatever, like 9 to 9 at night, and I was just like, my eyes were dry, and I was like, whatever. And she brought it up because you worked at an eye doctor.
I was an ophthalmic technician.
Right.
Yeah.
So as a shop hack to people who are in the office all day, Christina asked something about having dry eye, and you had a solution.
I have two solutions. You know what? And you're not going to do either of them.
Probably
so
not.
Sauerkraut.
First one.
Just
Eat your
dangle that shit in your eye.
sauerkraut.
Yeah.
It'll fix it.
It'll give me wet eyes, I'm sure.
Number one, artificial tears. 4 times a day, put in artificial tears. It'll make your life so much better. Number two.
You mean like just like eye drops?
Yeah, like eye drops, but not like Visine or anything, like actual like artificial tears.
What is artificial tears? Like stolen from children?
Over the counter, just go to your drugstore and you just look for artificial tears.
Basically lube.
Yeah.
For your eye.
Basically for your eye. Yeah. The second thing that you're not going to do is blink your eyes.
Well, I hope I do that, because that would be insane.
I bet you don't blink them as often as you're supposed to, and that's what gives you dry eye.
Christina was kind of describing it to me. You weren't saying just blink. You were saying blink hard.
Blink hard. If you will do it like 10 times a day, just like super blink hard and like squeeze your eyes. I don't do it even when my eyes are dry because I don't want a bunch of wrinkles. But it's like the simplest things that nobody does. Yeah, and it just
like eat sauerkraut for your health.
Like eating sauerkraut, dude. Yeah, totally. So
shut up.
Yeah, that's my shop hack. My other shop hack that we might work in your shop, Dylan, but I know it won't work in.
The fucking defeat in Andy's. Shut up. It's so worth it.
My other shop hack is, how like when you like somebody's printing shirts and you're like pulling shirts and you get distracted because you're doing one job and the sizes get all mixed together. Mm-hmm. And so my shop hack for that is we take another, like a different colored shirt, and we just put it, once the sizes change, put it on the belt so that when it drops in the box, you're like, oh, there's the shirt that separates the sizes. I don't have to look at every single tag. That's cool.
The nice thing with that, with using a whole shirt, like say a yellow shirt on a black shirt run or something, is that if it was to fall in a bin, it would have a clear divider. Like there's a lot of people who are like, oh, I have an index card or I have this or that I stick on a shirt. But if it falls in the bin, it's going to fall randomly in the bin somewhere. It's not going to be a perfect divider. So I like the shirt idea. The shirt idea is good. Yeah, I like it.
So anyways, saves me a lot of headaches. It's like my least favorite thing to do. I don't pull shirts that often anymore, but when I do and I have to look at every tag.
Yeah. Well, I know what Andy's going to say. He's going to say that a shirt will never fall off the dryer belt. It's 100% always picked.
Did I say anything? No, I didn't.
I knew. I could tell by looking at you. Yes.
I didn't say a word. I'm like going with the flow here. It's my 2025. I'm all good. It's fine.
No, but I like yours better. That it's you're 100% someone focused on the end of the dryer. But in Angie's situation, she doesn't have that human who's staring at the belt all day.
Well, her son soon will be.
Soon, yeah.
And he will have to blink hard to make sure that his eyes are on it.
That's right. Yeah. I'm super excited
Angie,
to meet up with you guys.
Yeah. Are you, what day are you getting in?
We fly in Tuesday.
Oh, so you got some time.
Yeah. So we got some time. So I'm excited. It'll be fun.
Nice. Well, I hope to see you Thursday night at our happy hour.
I get it on the calendar.
Hell yeah. Perfect.
On the big ass calendar, it's
awesome.
there.
And that's her one thing for the year.
Happy hour.
Well, Angie, thanks so much for doing this with us. I'm excited to see what happens with your shop, and I hope all this improvements you've been doing make a crazy 2025 for you.
Yeah, I'm excited too.
Amen.
And I appreciate you guys having me on. This is awesome.
Hell yeah. You're great. You've been awesome.
Andy, I hope you enjoy the funny little text that I sent you with the,
I do.
Little clips.
They're great. I appreciate them. Keep
you
them coming.
probably think I'm super funny, but I'm not. I just am resourceful and can send other people's funny stuff.
You curate good stuff. Yeah, it's good. Keep it coming.
That's awesome.
Thanks again. Thanks, Angie.
We'll have you.
Thank you.
See you later.
Have a great day, guys. Bye.